What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 My Team Career Mode. Last time out, we were at the Miami Grand Prix, and after a strong qualifying performance that got us into a top 10 position, we had a very eventful race. We were constantly battling back and forth with cars, and despite losing a few positions at times and looking like we might not finish in the points, we managed to pull off a penultimate lap double overtake to take 10th place and score our first points of the season. So we're currently sat on 1 point. That moved us up to 9th in the constructors standings, and we're also now 16th in the drivers standings. So we're not having an amazing season by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, we're actually not looking too bad, and we're going to be doing our first facility upgrade since we came into Formula 1. We're going to be generating some more resource points in the durability department, and the idea behind that is that we will be able to get more resource points, get some developments completed faster, which, to be honest, we're currently developing faster than we even really know what to do with. You know, you can see the amount of resource points we've got, and there's no upgrades we can do at the moment. I did have a quick look at driver perks, but obviously we've only got 10k in the account, so we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we can get some driver perks, which will be very useful because I have been wearing out my car incredibly fast at the moment. You know, we've just done a gearbox change last race, and then this weekend we've done 2 more component changes, and also the turbocharger is looking very, very worn, but I am going to try and hold on to that one for another race weekend, I think. So yeah, we're going to be coming up to Imola Grand Prix, and yeah, this is a Grand Prix that I actually don't enjoy that much. You know, historically, I haven't gone very well here. I did, of course, get I think it was either 1 or 2 wins. I definitely remember at least one that was very surprising that happened in last year's F1 22 My Team Career Mode. But generally speaking, you know, I'm off the pace. I really struggle to keep up with the cars around me, and yeah, I think that we might be on for something similar to that this time out, especially because we are currently falling down the order a little bit in the performance index. You know, we're not getting anywhere near as many upgrades as I was hoping for. We got 1 come on the car in time for the race weekend, but the other 2 we were expecting both failed, so we're now not going to get those until Monaco, or maybe even the Spanish Grand Prix, which is, yeah, a little bit disappointing. But it is a triple header, if I'm not mistaken: Imola, Monaco, and Spain. So, yeah, we're perhaps not surprised to find that we're not going to be able to get many upgrades in between all of these. Of course, the Imola Grand Prix in real life was cancelled due to flooding in the region. But actually, the weather is going to stay surprisingly dry all weekend this time around. Practice 3, it says there's going to be some rain, but I don't usually participate in Practice 3 anyway. So I can't anticipate that is going to affect me too much, and yeah, we're just going to be trying to see what we can do and see if we can maybe kick on from that good form that we had in Miami, and maybe try and, you know, I don't know if points will be on the cards here just because of how much I typically struggle at this track, but maybe we'll be on for sort of like a top 12 or something like that. I think that was what we were targeting in Miami, and we had more pace than I thought we did. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to be aiming for here. I'd say top 12 or something like that, and we'll have to qualify well to achieve that as well. If we can get a top 15 to achieve that sponsorship target that we've got going on as well, then that would be the ideal scenario here. But obviously, the first session of the weekend, as always, I do like to participate in Practice 1. I don't ever show it just because we don't really do anything of note there. There's no driving that's particularly interesting, only if I get involved in some kind of incident or something like that. But yeah, I thought my pace here was actually pretty okay. I didn't think it was terrible. We didn't do any runs on the soft tyres, hence why it looks like we're nowhere compared to everyone else. You can see that we're not even in the top 14 here, but nonetheless, I did think that my pace was pretty good, and it means that I'm optimistic about our chances in qualifying. I think that we could be on for a decent result here, and I can only hope that. I can only hope that we do get that, at least that P15. You know, I want to get through to Q2, and I'm hoping that Enzo will get through to, not Q2, but maybe at least, like, you know, off the back row. I think that's going to be the target for Enzo at the moment, is to at least out-qualify a couple people. Usually that will be who is it? Sargent and De Vries. Those seem to be the drivers that he's been racy with so far this season. But anyway, we make our way into qualifying, and you can see that we have started a lap on the fresh soft compound of tyre, and it is going to be a 1:17.2 as we cross the line. So it's not a bad lap by any stretch of the imagination, but I do wonder whether we perhaps have a little bit more pace than that, and we'll probably go on another fresh set of soft compound tyres, I imagine. But actually, as we round the final corner, we're a tenth down on our previous time. However, fortunately, we are just going to make it through regardless of the fact that we don't improve in P16, and so, yeah, that was pretty good. Maybe we should have come into the pits to save those tyres a little bit, but yeah, as things stand, P16, not a bad result for us. But as I'm sure you're not surprised to see, it does mean that Enzo Fittipaldi is going to be eliminated. He's all the way down in P22, 6/10 off of me, and behind De Vries and Sargent, and also Albon, and both Hasses of Magnussen and Hulkenberg were eliminated as well. So I wouldn't say there were any major surprising exits from that qualifying session. Perhaps when you factor in how strong Nico Hulkenberg was at Miami, maybe it's a little bit surprising to see him out in Q1 this time around. But I'm not too shocked by any of the exits there. And now we make our way into Q3 and that Q2, and actually on a used set of tyres. This was a banker lap. I do a 1:17.0, so I was very happy with that. And yeah, maybe there's a chance for us to even sneak into Q3 here as we make our way onto the final lap of Q2 in the final sector. You can see that I am almost 5/10 up already. I think Alonso there is about 3/10 ahead of me. So I think we actually have a pretty good chance of making this if we can improve by that sort of 5/10 margin or something like that. Maybe we could just sneak into Q2. We'll see if it's going to be good enough. We're 5.5 tenths up as we cross the line, and in the end that is good enough to see us in P11. So we just miss out on Q2, unfortunately. We were very close, but we will not quite be making an appearance. We were just over a tenth off of Alonso's teammate, Lance Stroll, who actually has probably one of his strongest performances so far, I would say. He's really been quite underwhelming for Aston Martin so far this season. But we are eliminated along with Joe, Alonso, Bottas, Tsunoda and Gasly. So at least we outqualified Tsunoda, who is our current championship rival. We need to gain some good points on him here because he's currently winning the rivalry due to how much he outclassed me in Azerbaijan. We need to get some good performances on him now, and we have done exactly that this time out. We closed the gap to just 3 points, which is a pretty good margin. It means that if he has a DNF or if we have a couple strong performances compared to him, we should be able to get back in that hunt. And if you're wondering the significance of the rivalries in my career mode, then for every rivalry I win, I will up the difficulty by a point, and for every rivalry I lose, I will lower the difficulty by 1 point. So yeah, we're currently on 95 AI, and if we win this rivalry against Tsunoda, we'll be bumping it up to 96. So yeah, there's things at stake, but 11th place actually sets us up pretty nicely for that target of a top 12 finish that I was hoping for. If I can get a good start, which I have historically been doing in some of the races that we've had so far, then maybe there exists the chance of us sneaking our way into the points, but I think that the AI is going to have significant pace compared to me. If I'm honest, I think we're probably just going to go backwards here, and yeah, we'll see if there's anything we can do to stop that from happening as we get into the Imola Grand Prix.
This place has gone by many titles: the Italian Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, and now it's the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Welcome to Grand Prix Sunday. 3.1 miles of track at Imola, featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And the smooth operator, Carlos Sainz, completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Stroll, Robinson, Joe, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Tsunoda, Gasly, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Albon, Sargent, De Vries, Sargent. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And Anthony Davidson joins us for this one. And great to have your company. There's no weather to worry about here. What will be going through the drivers' minds as they finish these last-minute preparations?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Wow, okay, so Mark is very keen for us to get into the points again. I think that might be a slightly tall order, especially for a track that I'm not too strong around. You know, typically I was never very good here when we were in an underperforming car. I think even in the season, was it season 3, where I was consistently getting podiums and top 5 finishes and stuff like that, I think I missed out on points here in F1 22, my team career mode. So yeah, I think it will be a big task unless they've changed the way the AI drive around here. You know, you've got to be so careful going into turn 1, especially because the AI love a bit of a dive bomb there. But we'll see what we can do as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've gotten a pretty good getaway, especially compared to Esteban Ocon, who got a shocking getaway there. But we're also going to get past Lance Stroll here, and now I think we're going to have a look at maybe overtaking Piastri, but he covers us off a little bit, and that kind of stops us from having any chance getting past him. We don't have an AI try to send it around the outside of us this time. Lance Stroll waits his turn to go through the corner, and that means that off the back of this strong start, we are up into P9, and we are currently in a points-paying position. However, I think it is going to be very difficult for us to hold on to this. You know, I know what the AI is like around here, and I would be very surprised if they don't pull away from me very quickly. You know, I think if I'm still in DRS range of Oscar Piastri by the time that the start of lap 4 rolls around, because obviously there's only one DRS zone on this circuit, if we're still in DRS range of him by that point, then I will be very amazed, to say the least. But you know, maybe, just maybe, there is a chance that we might be able to stick with him. But you can see that we're coming under a lot of pressure from Lance Stroll already. This chicane, however, seems to be a place where I was massively faster than the AI. I don't know why. I've noticed something on this year's game in particular, that it seems like you can attack the curbs a lot more aggressively than you could before. And that has kind of allowed me to get a lot of my pace back that I was lacking on some tracks. Places like Baku and places like Imola as well. You know, historically, I was always afraid to attack the curbs. I think it would be the same deal in Monaco as well. I was always afraid to attack the curbs for fear that it would cause me floor damage. On simulation damage, that definitely seemed to be a thing before. But now, it doesn't seem so much like it's a thing. And as a result, it means that by the time lap 4 does roll around, I am still in DRS range to Oscar Piastri, and so we are dragging ourselves away from this battle that's going on between Ocon and Stroll, and maybe, just maybe, we might be able to challenge the front runners here today. That would be absolutely incredible if so. You know, I don't know if you saw when we were looking at the performance index earlier, but McLaren have made a big leap forward. They're now almost as good as Aston Martin, I would say, and at this race they are comprehensively outperforming Aston Martin, who are running in 11th and 13th at the moment. But yeah, it seems that Piastri and Norris are starting to maybe look like they're going to be challenging the big boys a little bit. They're just behind Sergio Perez there, I believe, and so yeah, they're having a really good time of things. Definitely looks like McLaren have found something that they aren't able to find in real life at the moment. But by the time that we get on to lap 5. You can see that I have started to fall away from DRS range a little bit. I'm not quite there even through the chicane. Even as I picked up a warning for going off track there, I still couldn't close Piastri down by quite enough to get into the DRS range. And so maybe, just maybe, that's going to start inviting Ocon and Stroll back into the fight with me a little bit. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. They're battling away there quite a lot, and I think they're going to end up holding each other up maybe a little bit. but we'll see. As we move now on to lap 7, we're looking at Nick De Vries, who is running in last after my teammate Enzo Fittipaldi has got ahead of him. But things are about to go from bad to worse for Nick De Vries here, as he is going to be the first casualty, the first retirement of this Imola Grand Prix. You didn't really see him very much, but I promise you he was there and pulling off the track. So we move on to lap 12 now, and you can see that the gap to Norris and Piastri has come down a little bit, but not massively. And meanwhile, Stroll and Ocon are very far behind. They've been battling away pretty much every lap, and that has allowed me to, really start to stretch my legs away from them. And, it's at this point in the race that I was starting to ask myself, maybe, just maybe, we might actually be on the cards for a points finish here. A couple points, P9, that would be our best finish so far in Formula 1. And not only that, but it would also mean that we would be closing down the Williams in the Constructors' Championship as well. They're currently sat on 7 points. We're sat on 1. So we would need a P7 here to tie them on points. I don't think that's realistic. But, I think that we have a good chance of scoring points here and in some of the races upcoming as well. So, there probably is a chance that we can start getting back at them in the championship and maybe even get back at the Hasses as well. Who knows? I think that P7 will probably be the strongest position that we can finish in the championship this time around. But, it remains to be seen. We're in the pits now. We're going to be going on a set of hard compound tyres to the end. For a change, the tyre wear actually felt pretty good here. I felt like I could push on those mediums for the whole 15 laps we were on. And yes, they were pretty worn towards the end, but I didn't feel like it was hamstringing me anywhere near as much as it had been in those very tyre degradation heavy tracks that we were doing before, like Baku and Miami as well. Both of those, they're very rear tyre dependent, whereas this track, despite the fact that they've obviously got this big long straight here, other than that, it's not too rear tyre dependent, which means that we were able to hold on to the medium tyres for almost half a race distance, and I would say that we basically got nothing to worry about on these hard tyres. You might not have seen there, but Lance Stroll just came out of the pits, and not only is he behind Ocon, he's also behind Bottas. So him starting on the hards and going hard medium where everyone else was doing a medium hard has really not worked out for the Canadian driver whatsoever. And now I would say that our biggest thing we got to worry about here is probably going to be Esteban Ocon. Now that he's in some clear air, will he have some pace that he didn't have when he was battling back and forth with Stroll every time? I don't know. It's a tall order to make up just over half a second a lap on me every single lap. But we know that Alpine's got pace. But I don't know if it's got quite enough pace, because by the time we move on to lap 24, you can see that Ocon is just about as close as he was. Maybe he's made up a couple seconds on me from 5 laps ago. But I don't know if it's going to be enough for him to really mount a challenge towards me come the end of the Grand Prix. The McLarens are really pulling away at this point now. You can see that Piastri is 7 seconds up the road. Norris a further 5 seconds away from him. So, there is a very small chance, I think, that we can compete with the McLarens here. But maybe, just maybe, something miraculous might happen here or something like that. I was getting very close to that pit wall on multiple occasions as I was coming on this straight. I don't know why, but it just it seemed to me like it was going to save me time or something like that. I don't really know. But yeah, either way, we're now going to be looking at the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, the number 11 car. He's right on the tail of his teammate, Max Verstappen. I think this is the battle for 3rd place, the final spot on the podium. But Sergio Perez is no longer going to be involved in the battle for 3rd place because he is out of the Grand Prix, and he retires from yet another Grand Prix. I think he's retired from 3 Grand Prix so far this season. I might be wrong about that. I definitely remember him retiring in Australia, but I can't remember if he retired from one of the races after that as well. Either way, that promotes us up the order into P8 now. So we're looking pretty good right now. We're going to be scoring 4 points as things stand. Meanwhile, Bottas has got ahead of Ocon as well. So it means that the Alfa Romeos will be scoring a couple points here as well, but hopefully we'll be staying ahead of them in the championship. They're currently on no points, and we will be outscoring them. But they just weren't closing me down fast enough. You can see that the gap behind me is about what it was a few laps ago. So we don't have too much to worry about here, I would say. And as long as we just keep trucking along on these hard compound tyres, don't make too many mistakes, we should be absolutely fine. We round the final corner to start what will be the final lap of the Grand Prix now, lap 32. And yeah, the gap is basically the same as it was back then. So I would say that basically we've got nothing to worry about at this stage. As long as the car doesn't break down, we should be absolutely fine. I actually had a bit of a pop-up to show me my tyre wear and maybe that my turbocharger was really dead by this point. You know, 75% wear on the turbocharger. And I got a little bit worried for a second that was saying that my engine had failed or something like that, or my gearbox. But unfortunately, it was fine. And yeah, we were able to make our way through to the final few corners of the race. Even if the car broke down now, I think that it would allow me to cross the finish line. I don't think the game would be that heartless that it would say, no, you got to pull over at the nearest possible position. You know, just coast to the finish line. But we do come up to the line, and yeah, we take a brilliant P8, which is our best result of the season so far. And 4 pivotal points in the championship for both the constructors and the drivers. That is going to do wonders for us.
It's a performance that our Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix winners can be justifiably proud of, and I'm sure there'll be celebrations tonight. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Charles Leclerc takes victory, I believe, for the second time this season, if I'm not mistaken. You know, Verstappen is leading the championship at the moment, but Leclerc is not too far behind him. And yeah, Verstappen obviously on the podium as well, alongside Lewis Hamilton, who's having a pretty strong season. No wins yet, I don't think, but he has had a good chunk of podiums. And yeah, it will be interesting to see how this title fight plays out. And we're not in it.
So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed.
The gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader.
Let's focus on driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari continued to extend the gap at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
I can't wait to see what's next either, Alex Jakes. But yeah, we make our way up to 14th in the driver's standings now, so we're slowly working our way up the order. And otherwise, we're still in P9 in the constructors, so we still got some work to do to work our way up the order there. But another strong points finish, maybe an 8th or a 9th place will be enough to get us there. Next up is Monaco, which is a track I do believe we are going to struggle at. Our car isn't really particularly good at high downforce tracks, you know, despite the fact that we've worked quite a lot on the aero. That one requires a lot of chassis performance as well, which we have basically none of. So yeah, I think that we're going to struggle at Monaco. If I can get into the points there, it will be because we had an exceptionally good qualifying. But otherwise, I think it is just going to be a bit of a nothing race. You know, we'll just run around, probably get pressured by a few cars behind us, and you know, hopefully things will go all right. The one thing I am looking forward to, the thing that I was talking about earlier, is that maybe we'll be able to. Maybe we'll be able to attack the curbs a little bit more at that race. I don't know, because the damage doesn't seem quite as severe in this game as it's been in previous years' games. So that's something we could be potentially looking forward to. But, you know, Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, on the whole, I would say a success as far as things are concerned. You know, we got another good points finish. We're on 2 consecutive points finishes in a row. We've closed the gap in the rivalry to Yuki Tsunoda to just 2 points now. So I think in the next 3 races, as long as we go well in Monaco, there is a chance that we can get ahead of him and maybe even beat him. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds. You know, yeah, I think Monaco is going to be a bit of a struggle, but then after that we've got Spain, which is a track that I actually think is pretty good. We tend to have some pretty decent races around there in my experience. And yeah, then after that we've got the likes of Canada, Austria, Silverstone, you know, tracks that are always fun and tend to throw up pretty good racing in my experience, especially Austria. I can't wait for that one. And that should be coming out around the same time. No, actually the Austrian Grand Prix is the weekend after. Completely disregard what I just said. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much all that I have to say on the matter, and that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe. Please go and follow me on Twitch as well, because we're so close to 1,000 followers, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.